everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Amy, I am the colorist here, and welcome to our favourite video of the month, my completed pages for the month of October. Now, normally I would have you at the top overhead cam and be showing you the book of the cover while I talk, but today I was like, let's show you my face. So yeah, a little bit of a different view. So just a quick synopsis of what happened in October. Obviously lots of spooky colouring was planned, not a lot was achieved, but that's okay. One of the things I did stipulate last month was that I really wanted to focus on like slowing down and really enjoying the process of colouring, focusing on just the quality of what I was colouring, because I have a tendency to just chuck colour on a page and tune a page out. I'm not saying they're not beautiful and there's not anything wrong with the process, but I know that when I slow down, I push myself to try new techniques, try new styles, develop stories, develop characters, and the page just becomes a lot more real to me and a lot more meaningful. So this month, one of the things I wanted to do was really slow down and enjoy the process a lot more and focus on those elements rather than just getting a page completed. So you will see that reflected in my total because I have not done as many as I normally do. But I really love the pages that I have done or am currently working on, because spoilers, there's a few work in progress pages. The other thing to note with October was I went to a convention in the middle, towards the end of the month, and I unfortunately caught COVID. I'm still on the tail end of it. You might hear it a little bit in the situation here. Today's technically the first day that I could go out of isolation, but I still haven't because I'm not 100% yet. I'm still quite symptomatic. So yeah, that kind of knocked me on my butt and took out a week of my month of colouring because it was basically a week of me asleep. But we're a lot better now, which is fantastic. But yeah, let me put you onto the overhead cam and I'll show you what I did during the month of October. Okay, so I have the pile assembled. It's a little more than I thought, but I know there's a bunch of work in progress pages that I started and didn't really get to work on as much as I wanted. So the first one I will show you is actually my buddy colour for the month, so that I remember to put in Colouring Bumblebee's counterpart. So the first page that I completed is from Lulu Mayo's A Million Little Monsters. And it's this gorgeous little page here that I did, as I said, as a buddy colour with Colouring Bumblebee. So I used Super Tip Crayola markers as a base, and then used my Prismacolors on top to shade and define the markers. And then there is also a little touch of Posca for some of the little details and the dots in the background, and a little bit of deco art. They have a glitter, a very fine glitter. It's not Enchanted Shimmer, it's the other one I have, but it's one of their glitter paints. It's a super fine glitter paint and it's very, very pretty, and added just that little touch of sparkle to the page as well. So I thought that was very sweet and I really like that. And Colouring Bumblebee's one, it's quite funny. We did use a lot of the same colours but in different ways, and it's really nice as well, and I really like what she did. So make sure you check her out on Instagram. She's a regular buddy colour of mine. I tend to only do one a month, but it sort of works for me. I'm open to doing more. I just tend to do one regularly with her every month. I really like it. And then the other one that's in here is a work in progress, which is this one here. So I actually have a messenger chat group with a bunch of wonderful colorists, and we have a weekly prompt challenge that we put out. It's not like compulsory to complete it, it's just like a little challenge that we do for ourselves. And so this was for the candy challenge, which I don't think any of us managed to complete. With it being Halloween, it was like, let's do a candy challenge. So this has just been based with Crayola Super Tips, and then I've started working some of it in Prismacolor, but we're still working on this one. So that one's not quite finished yet. So that was Lulu Mayo, A Million Little Monsters. And I do apologise, I'm probably going to be a little throat clogged or coughing a bit because of the COVID tail end. And then we have Colouring Heaven Halloween special. So in this one, this is a collaboration of a bunch of different artists. So I tried to do a little bit in here. I had quite a few in both this Halloween special and the Bad Girls Halloween special that I wanted to get to. However, I had a bunch of work in progresses in each of them, and I was trying to make myself finish those off first because I've been sitting here. These are older work in progresses from the start of the year when I had nearly 60 at the start of the year. So I want to try and get those initial 60 worked down quite a bit. So that's what we worked on. And I did manage to complete 2 in here by tackling the old work in progresses. So we have this one here, Are You My Mummy by Simona Candini. I really love how this turned out. It's very, very sweet. It was based in alcohol markers, and unfortunately the background is not the smoothest of bases. It's quite hard to do a big area smoothly with alcohol markers, especially on this paper. But yeah, everything was based in alcohol markers already, so I came in with my Prismacolors and a couple of Poscas on top and just worked some shading in with the details. And yeah, I kind of kept it very simple, but it was really nice to work on, especially because I've done some really, really detailed pages this month. So it was a nice change to do something a little bit more simple and very sweet. And I like how this one turned out. And then the other one that I completed is Masquerade Party by Hannah Lynn. So this is the first ever Hannah Lynn page I have completed. I know she is a very popular colorist for a lot of people here, a lot of coloring choice. I've never been a fan of these massive thick lines. I have talked about this before. It's just not my coloring preference. So a couple of years ago, I started this. I painted over the background with an acrylic paint and started coloring in it to see if I could like work this in a lineless fashion, if I would like it better. And I just kind of got a bit stuck on it, like it chewed through the pencils and it's very difficult to blend. It wasn't the right basing medium. And so when it came time to it, I was like, well, we had like the head mostly done and we're starting on the dress, but it wasn't great. So I was just like, I'm just going to try and challenge myself to finish it. And so I did the best I could. Again, it was really hard to blend on here, really hard to work with how I prepped it. I now know better ways to do this, to work lineless, to erase the lines, to reduce the width of lines. There's different techniques I would use now than how I approached this page like 2 years ago when I painted it. However, we did push through, and then when it came time, I was like, I am not doing all those background details, so I just grabbed a couple of the like paint sticks. I just grabbed the gold and the pink and just started blending those for the background, which I kind of like because it gives it like an oil painting feel. Yeah, so it's not my best work, but also this was an experiment piece, and I'm glad I pushed through it, and I'm glad I finished it, and I actually really like the face with like the line weight reduced. There's certain areas where the lines could help, so I think if I'm going to tackle another one of her pages, I might try to reduce the width of the lines in certain areas, or see if there's a way to work the lines in a way where they're not so intense, particularly around the eyes. I think it's the eyes that get me a lot. So yeah, but I do like how this turned out for an experiment page. So it's a mixture of acrylic paint, don't know the brand, painted a while ago. I think I initially started doing the head with a bunch of polychromos pencils, realized how badly it chewed up the pencils and didn't carry on. I know I came in with a bunch of some of my cheaper pencils, so I didn't really care if they got chewed up. So I had a bunch of like no-name brand ones or like knockoff brand ones. I don't know. It really was a random eclectic collection of pencils. It was whatever seemed to fit the colorway, whatever seemed to work on the paper, whatever seemed to blend in any sort of way. So it's a really eclectic mix of pencils in here. And then Chubby's paint sticks for in here, and probably a little bit of Posca just to bring the white back into the eyes. So that was the Colouring Heaven Halloween special. And then we have Mythomorphia, the massive falling apart pile of a book. And we finally finished off the Cyclops one. So this is an older work in progress, not so old from the start of the year, but I did start this a couple of months ago. I ended up kind of screwing up on the background, which is another reason I didn't come back to it, because I had kind of rushed it again. This was when I was getting very much Mythomorphia burnout, and I just didn't really care for it. So what I ended up doing was just painting over the chains and armor with a bronze Liquitex, I just on my desk here, Liquitex acrylic ink in the iridescent rich bronze. And then I used black acrylic paint and a black Posca marker to sort of outline the chains and do some patternings, kind of inspired by the patterns that were already there, but I just kind of made it up a little bit on the armor, just to kind of add a little bit of interest and detail. Now, unfortunately, because these are so black, the shadows on him are quite muted, but at the same time, I'm very happy with the shading on him, and I don't want to go in and add more shading, so I'm happy to call this one done. This was right when I was at burnout point, and I was colouring for the sake of colouring. I think I saw this page and was like, that's an easy page. Yeah, so it's not something that inspires me, but it's still nicely coloured. This is what I was talking about trying to slow down and enjoy the process. But we've still got some pages that were like mostly done that I was pushing myself to do to kind of finish up and get out of the way so we can start fresh. So yeah, this is a mixture of gallery water-soluble crayons as a base, which then I worked over in Prismacolors, I believe. I think there's also some polys mixed in there to get the right shades. And then the matte acrylic black paint, Liquitex acrylic ink, Poscas in black, and then also in a gold for little touches around there as well. And yeah, I think that's it. And then we also have a work in progress that I started in here. There's technically a couple in here, but when I was up at the convention, I did have this book on me because it basically lives on me, and I got inspired to start a new one. So I only have done the background, but I really love the background because I love rainbows anyway. And this is just doing ink tints so far. And yeah, it's just literally a rainbow gradient in the background, but I think it's pretty cute, you know? I think it's going to be really fun, and I've got an idea of where I might go on this, and I love rainbows, so I'm pretty excited to carry on with this one. So that was Mythomorphia by Kerby Rosanes. My book is absolutely falling apart. It's been very well loved. Another book we did some more work in was Fragile World. Again, this is another older work in progress that I did some more work on. I didn't manage to complete though. So this is an old cleanup page where I had received some Tombow brush markers. Like this is one, it's like one little curated set of colours, and this is the whole set. Without researching how to use them or anything about them, I just went in and kind of went a bit nuts and was using water to blend, and yeah, I just went a bit nuts here on the page. I didn't even look at like what these birds were or what their colours were. I was just having a lot of fun with it, which was cool, but they weren't the best in terms of the blending, and they were spotty, and just because I didn't know how to actually use them properly, and so I used them very, very wrong. So now, to fix it up, I came in with my Prismacolors to add in some details. So far all I've done is all the branches and the pine cones to clean them up and add in the shadows and the darkness. I might go in with another layer of darks to make them even darker in their darks. I'm not sure. We'll decide that when we finish the birds. But yeah, basically I've just got now the birds left to go. But I did manage to at least get the branches done, and I'm quite happy to leave the background as is, or maybe flicker on some random spots or something, you know, just to help fill it out. But I think once the birds are filled in, it'll help it pop a lot more too. So that's Fragile Worlds by Kerby Rosanes. Again, another work in progress. This one's actually a completed page. So we have Rooms of Wonder, and we have the key. This is the key at the end of the book. This one is an older work in progress page, and I had a prompt challenge in the colouring group where we had a palette challenge, and so I pulled out a really pretty colour palette that had like pink, purple and blue, teal, and then a bright blue, I think it was. But basically I'd done this watercolour section in the middle here, but that was it. So I was like, okay, I can work with that, that's already there. And then pulled out my Distress inks and Kaisercraft shimmer spray and did all the background to give it that more galaxy spacing. And the idea is the key is kind of like glowing in the middle of this. And then I think I used my Prismacolors a lot this month. So this is all Prismacolors again for the colouring. Just a couple of pencils, really simple. And then I just realised as well, there's also another page in here I did some work on. And it's like really close to being finished. So I actually worked on this page. So this is the, did I even finish it? I think all I've got left to do is paint the background or figure out something with the background. So I started this page when I first got my Inktense pencils, and this was my little experiment with the Inktense pencils. I think it was the Inktense. And then the Albert Drawers maybe? I don't know. It's definitely a water-soluble media. There we go. I haven't finished that one down there. So we've still got one more dress to do plus the background. Yeah, so I had chucked down some basic colours for all these and just left it with the experiment of either the Inktense or Albert Drawers. I genuinely can't remember what pencils I used to test it out in. Some water-soluble media. But you can see here we've had one that like spread a bit on the page. And they were just very flat. Like you can see here, there's a little bit of shading, but it's not like highly detailed. So what I did was I ended up coming in with some basic pencils. I think some Staedtler 145Cs, a set that I was testing out anyway. They did not have enough pigmentation. They aren't great pencils, at least in my mind. They're nice hard pencils, but there wasn't enough pigment for what I was looking for to make it worthwhile. But yeah, I used them for some basic shading, and then I was pulling out pretty much every colour of Posca that I had and trying to pick out little details and just make the clothes like appear more vibrant and intense and the patterns more interesting and just bring some life to the clothes. So yeah, I still have that dress to go and possibly the necklace as well, which honestly I might just use the gold Posca on, but we've got to figure out the background because again we've got this big spill here, so possibly I'll use some sort of paint in the background, or maybe I'll just go around each of the clothes with a Posca marker. I don't know, give me some ideas. What would you do in the background here, because this is quite clearly a spill and I need to do something to clean up the background. So, oh, little bug. Yeah, give me some ideas. So there's actually two in there. I didn't realise that. All right. So, Fairies in Dreamland. This is a new one for me that I have completed off. New artist. This is Denyse Klette. If you saw my Gnomes in the Neighbourhood flip through book, you would have seen a little sneak peek of this in that flip through. But we have managed to complete it. So this is again another one of the weekly prompt challenges from my colouring group. This one, the challenge was to use glitter. So all the glitters that I could manage to get on the page, and I could probably get more, but we got a lot of glitter on the page. So we have, goodness, where do I start? We have Inktense in the background that has been layered with a glitter gel, and then also white Posca for the stars. And then we also have Inktense for the water. Yeah, Inktense for the water. With some Prismacolor and then Poscas on top for the ripples and the colour reflections. We have the flowers that were based with alcohol markers and topped off with Prismas and Poscas. And then we have the actual Fae and her blanket stack as well. So some of her was based in alcohol markers, the actual Fae, and then gone over top with the Prismas. There is gold Posca for her little headband. Her wings are Stickles glitter glue. And then her entire stack of pillows is just done with cheap metallic and glitter gel pens. So it is ridiculously shiny and sparkly. And I think the only other thing I was going to do was there is a little bit of a pattern on the flowers. And originally I was going to use that same gold Posca to bring out those patterns. But I decided against it and just left it as sort of like shading on the flowers. I quite like it as like a textural thing on the flowers. And I felt like, and I hate to say it, there was enough glitter. It's a hard thing to say. I almost put more glitter on the bottom as well. It's like, maybe that needs glitter too. I literally could have coloured this entire page with glitter. I feel like this is a sort of book where you could colour a page with just glitter and it would look fabulous. So, yeah. Fairies in Dreamland by Denyse Klette. Really enjoyed that one. And then we have my Mythographic books. Now, this is actually the first time that I've worked in and completed pages in Mythographic. I have fallen in love with this series. It is definitely the next series that I want to collect all the books of because the paper's fantastic, the images are fantastic, right up my alley. Regret not colouring in these earlier, but we got there. So these ones have been worked on for a couple of months. These 3 in here, 2 of them are still work in progresses. But let's start with Imagine, which does have the completed page, which is this gorgeous one. I love how she turned out. She has a lot of work. She was, again, really embracing that slowing down and enjoying the process. But really, really love how it turned out. So we have a Distress ink base worked over with polychromos pencils. There is a lot of Posca in here to help lighten edges. And then we also have Stickles glitter glue for the sparkle on both the little wings and different elements of the page. Now, one of the big things I was doing was really playing with light reflex. So you can see on the edge of her leg here and on the top of the wings of the on the top of the flower, we've got a yellow reflect from her wings, like she's glowing a little bit. And then in the water itself, we've got a lot of like greens and purples and trying to pick up on those colors that are around. And then in the bottom of the flower, we've got the blue of the water reflecting. So there was a lot of playing around with that sort of idea and seeing where else I could put the color that was already on the page, which did mean slowing right down, but really, really enjoyed doing it. And even simple thing like her wings are slightly translucent and you can see colors peeking through of the items behind her. So yeah, slowed down to really play with those sort of elements, but I love how it turned out. And I spent so long trying to make it appear like these petals were half in and half out of the water. So like how they look underwater, how they look when they're half in and half out of the water versus the ones that are completely out of the water. Yeah, it was a lot of work, but I really, really love how it turned out. And this paper's fantastic and held so many layers because I worked a lot on these pages. So really, really, again, enjoyed it. And then the other work in progress we have in here is this one. So this looks a bit monotone at the moment, because unfortunately I chose the wrong color to base this. But once I color in the cyborg part, it'll pop a lot more. But yeah, so far I have done distress ink for the flowers, the leaves, and the cyborg. This in the background is Liquitex acrylic ink with some salt sprinkled on for some texture. And then this green cord is like a metallic marker that I was trying out. I regret the green cord and I regret the colour for her, because right now these are very similar to the green of the leaves, to the green of the cord, and the grey blue tone of her to the grey blue tones of the background. So it's looking very samey at the moment, but when I finish shading her, she is going to pop a lot more. This is just a base coat because again, it's not completed. And I'm also aware that I've got a lot more work to do in here in terms of figuring out which bits are which. Like, most of this page so far has been me sitting here going, what bit are you? What bit are you? What colour should you be? And I can't figure out some of it. So you can see that these big areas where there is no colour right now, because I legit don't know how to colour it. But we will get there once I can start tackling a bit more of it. But yeah, I really like this paper. I really like, you can see how much it bled through and how much it struggled. It did not struggle with all what I'm adding to it. So yeah, really like this one. And then the other one is from Mythographic Deep Blue. This is still also a work in progress page. And this one is actually a little different. It's this Poseidon page. This one is actually being filmed as a flip through for my patrons. So they chose which page they would like to have done. So the first one that won was Poseidon. And it's been filmed as a real-time tutorial where we are talking about lights and reflex and highlights and shadows and how to work light and all that. So I think so far it's 4 parts on the channel. It kind of goes up when I can manage to do it, but I need to get onto it a bit more systematically. Life has just kind of knocked me for 6 at the moment, but we are getting there. And so far this is all Inktense pencils. This is entirely coloured with Inktense pencils. And it's now at a stage where I am going to be going in with some polychromos pencils and doing some detailing shading and defining certain areas and bringing certain areas out. But we are on a home stretch with this one, which is cool. So yeah, I'm looking forward to completing this one finally. But again, we aren't rushing. We've been enjoying the process, and because it's been recorded as a real-time tutorial, the patrons have had an amazing opportunity to see how long it does take me to do a page when I'm not distracted and sitting down and doing a focus, but also had some explanations on how I work out colors and lights and deal with a situation like this where we have a direct light source this way, but we also have reflected light from the water around as well, because we've got yellow light here and blue light here, which has been super fun to play with. And I love the blue glow. Love the blue glow so much. So I'm really super excited to finish this, really bring this gold to life, to bring in some more shading and really complete the page. And then we have one more work in progress page. So yeah, lots of stuff done. If I had another week, I think I would have had a few more completed rather than work in progresses, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. And so this one is Symphony of Creatures by Kanoko Egusa. And if you have been on my Twitch channel, or if you've seen the YouTube channel, pretty much all I've been uploading is the live streams of this spread. Because this spread overtook my October. Not even joking. It was everything. However, I freaking love how it's turning out. So it is an absolute labor of love. We are at 70 hours into this piece so far, or almost 70 hours. I think if we take away roughly, and probably better to bring it down to 65, allowing for like stream where I get distracted and stuff like that. But the tally with time off stream plus the stream times is 70 hours. So yeah, it's a lot. But this is what I meant about slowing down and really taking my time with a page and pushing myself to try the techniques that I want, to really put into a page what I want to get out of it. And I am so pleased with how this is turning out. And so the reason why it's been taking so long is we have quite a few interesting challenges in here. For a start, I set myself 3 light sources. So we have a blue glow coming in from the windows, which is also creating a blue emphasis on stuff. We have a bright yellow light from these candles, which is also causing a yellow glow. But then we have a general top-down light here that gets darker as we go across because there's a light over this table here. And so that has also created another dynamic in terms of how the floor is shaded, how the walls are shaded. And it's been really, really interesting to play with. We've had a lot of really good discussions on the live stream about light and reflections and how to consider where your light sources are and what happens when this light hits this and this light hits this and you've got this light from behind but this light to the side. So that's been a really interesting time to figure out. And now, because again I'm not pushing myself to rush, one of the things that we've decided to do is to create a marble effect for like the pillars and the frames and this. So I've never coloured in like a marble effect, so I had to sort of figure out how to do that. So that's the latest thing we've gotten up to, is the marble effect for all the framework and here. And then you can see the bunting's kind of planned out but not actually finished. I've got some of it finished over here. But we are on the home stretch with this. Like, this will be completed next month. And as I said, if I had that week, if I hadn't fallen sick and been able to put an extra 10 to 15 hours into this, maybe 20 hours, I would have gotten there. It's just unfortunate that I fell sick and then we had a week off. So we're not quite finishing this in October as much as I wanted to have this spread finished for Halloween. But again, I really, really love how it's turning out. And the coolest thing about the spread is that my chat has actually come up with a bunch of lore for these characters and what's going on. Now, I'm wondering if I share this now or if I wait till the end when I have finished it, in case we develop it any further as we colour it. Ooh, I think I'll wait till the end because then I can give it its own dedicated little spiel. And again, we are still colouring it and we're still coming up with like a story and lore about what's been going on in this piece as I've been colouring it. So the live streams on Twitch are so much fun. Seriously, the chat is so wonderful. They're so creative and they're so amazing at coming up with ideas, and I'll ask questions and then they run with it and we just build a story together, and it just makes the page even more special. So really, really cannot express how happy I am with this one. All the little details that are going into it, all the little touches, just so much little touches that I'm looking forward to explaining when it's all complete. So the majority of this page is just polychromos pencils. There is some Posca for highlights. There is 2 Prismacolors because I needed certain colors. So there are 2 Prismacolors on here. And then there's also Deco Art Enchanted Shimmer on the background. So that's why it's got that beautiful shimmer. And then the bats are also covered in Stickles Glitter Glue. So yeah, that was my colouring in October. Not as many completed pages as usual, but I hope you can see what slowing down has produced and have enjoyed seeing all the various work in progress pages. We're heading into November now, so the goals for me in November are to complete some more of the work in progress pages so that come December we can focus on Christmas colouring, the end of the year, and really smashing out the last of those goals for the year. Can you believe we're 2 months away from finishing off the year? That's crazy. That's crazy. But thank you so much for watching. If you had a favorite page or a page in particular that you want to see me finish, or you have any questions about the techniques, the media, anything that you'd like to know about, please let me know down below and I will answer you as quick as I can. I am so grateful to you all watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye!